Let's go, girls. Welcome to Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm Michelle Taylor, founder of Women in Wealth. From breaking money myths to building wealth and achieving financial freedom, we're here to empower you to create your own path. Talk Wealthy. Now, join the conversation and let's change the way women think and feel about money. Okay, ready? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Talk Wealthy to Me. I'm your host, Michelle Taylor. And today, for the first time ever, I am joined by two guests instead of one. Yaritza and Rachel are joining today to talk all things entrepreneurship, mom, and what it means to be a sports mom. They are the dynamic duo and forces behind the official Sports Mom MVP. Not only doing that and hosting a podcast of their own, but also entrepreneurs in their own right within their own families. So they have lots to share, and I just know you're going to have so many takeaways from this. Okay, guys, this is special because it's the first episode with two people at one time. So bear with me as we try and navigate all of the things we have to say, and now an additional person at the table. But with that, Yaritza and Rachel, welcome to Talk Wealthy to Me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I think you guys just are doing so many great things. Tell the audience about you, about your business, and then about the pod.
Perfect. Where do we begin? Go ahead.
So I met Yaritza in T-ball, and we basically, you spend so many hours on the field, and we were like, hey, I think there's a huge miss here that we both love community. We both love our kids, and we need to create something where people can connect. And, it's not just about being in the sports life, but also about being a mom and like talking about those current issues.
Yeah.
And it was such an easy decision for both of us to start a business.
Yeah.
We have multiple things in our business. So we have our podcast, which is the Sports Mom Playbook.
Yep.
We love it.
Love it. That's like my favorite part of our business, to be honest.
We also have a boutique, so you can like shop and you can basically rock a lot of our stuff on and off the field.
Yeah. And that's e-commerce.
Yeah.
It's online. It's not brick and mortar. Okay.
Yeah, it's online. We do pop-ups every once in a while for those that like to shop in person, which is super fun because then we get to meet people and do the events. Like we love to do events.
Community.
We love it.
Which is what it's all about.
We love it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been in business now 3 years.
Yeah. 3 years. Podcast has been a year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, well, before I even go into that, so getting to watch your evolution. So I've known Yaritza,
since I was 18.
So that's like 3 years.
Too many years.
A long time.
A long time.
And we've, stayed in each other's lives. And now we worked together 1,000 years ago. And then getting to work with you personally, you and your husband on planning, and then of course just being good friends, and then watching this evolution that has happened has been so much fun. And then, meeting Rachel because of the involvement the two of you have, I think as an outsider looking in to what you're doing, it does feel like, oh my gosh, this is such a missed opportunity because sports as a sports mom is a whole thing.
It's a lifestyle.
I know. And I mean, you guys know, but also in the audience knows, I have my little guy is in baseball, Little League, but not travel.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter is in cheerleading and Top Gun and all of these things that it's just next level. And to see what you guys are doing with travel and all of that is just so impressive. Not to mention, and I think this is where we should start, is this is a huge, obviously, time commitment, but financial commitment. And I know that when you are a family and both of you are business owners outside of this space, where did you see the value in this, of turning this into a business because of women, and not to exclude the boys, but most of the women listening? How did you prioritize and say, this is something that we think is missing in the community and we want to talk about it, and we're spending a lot of money and a lot of time on the sports. Now we're going to spend more money starting a business. I'd love to hear your take on how are families doing it? Why do you think they're doing it? Because when we were younger, this was totally different. I mean, you played baseball in middle school and high school, and then scouts came, maybe some travel, but not much,
Yeah.
So how are families doing it? Why are they spending the money doing it, in your opinion? And how do they navigate this whole world to get the most juice out of the squeeze?
That's
a loaded question, I know, but
That is a lot of questions.
Man, where do we begin with all of that? So to go with your point as far as like why we do it for our kids. First and foremost, I feel like that is such a priority that Rachel and I have like talked about with other parents and other sports moms, just with people that we engage all the time with at the field. And as far as like the expenses go with it, it gets pricey. It really does get pricey, but it's something that we feel as it's an investment for the future of our children, of our experiences as a family. I think Rachel would agree with me on that as well.
Yeah, I do have to say, like the travel world and what sports really looked like back in the day growing up to now is very different.
Very.
And I think social media has a lot to do with it. I think there's always a lot of pressure of like, oh, keeping up with the Joneses and the new bat is out and the new merch and did you get it? So financially, it's a lot for parents. And I think parents nowadays, they want to do so much for their kids. And I personally, I find the value in sports because it doesn't just teach them, oh, you're pitching.
Yeah.
It teaches them a lot of different like pressures, life skills, manners of your coach, showing up on time, responsibility. So for me, that is really why I like the sports world because, you hear, as with anything, there's like good things and bad things. And I think sometimes the bad things really do happen to overshadow and people sometimes like are looking at the negative. But there really is a lot of value in sports, a lot of value in your kids. And to me, there's going to come a point where my kids are not going to want me around. Like they're going to be in college. They're going to have friends, girlfriend, like all of those things. So I'm really just trying to soak up this experience and just be as present as I can. And, I'm not always there for every game. Like sometimes me and my husband have to divide and conquer, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
And so we were talking a little bit about this before the show where, these are dollars that are being spent and the immediate gratification is spending time with your kids and they're getting to do something they love. But I think from a business owner standpoint, you said something that I think is really interesting and a lot of people will be able to relate to, in that if you see that your child's doing something that they love, the money is worth it because of those things and because you really could be investing now to offset the need for college to be paid for because they're really talented at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that talk a little bit about that. How much do you see in this world of people that are pouring into their kids and then it comes to fruition? Have you seen a lot of cases where it's like, okay, this kiddo is excelling because of the money that's being spent and now has opportunities that could save the family money down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen parents invest, to your point, with pitching lessons, all of the things, trying to get scholarships, and they make it. They make it to that point, and it's so successful to see that. But we also see the flip of the coin where there's people that they invest all this money, and their kids either fall out of love with the sport or they don't play in college or they don't play to the level that they thought their entire childhood was going to be that. So we've kind of seen it on the both ends of the spectrum just by people that we've talked to.
And to that point, it's grades too. People think that, we made it. We got so-and-so a scholarship and the parents think they're done. And that is one thing that we often hear is the parents think, hey, my kids have a scholarship. They have a full ride, but they also have, it's a contract. They have their own obligations that they have to keep up with grades, with, their performance on and off the field, making sure they're not getting in trouble off campus. Like there's so many different levels to it. And I think parents sometimes forget they're just so focused on that one goal of getting the scholarship. And it's challenging. There's a lot of talent out there. So what is it that you can do to have your kids stand out? They do look at the grades. They want the grades. That's something they forget.
So when do you think, as someone who isn't in that travel ball world yet, if you're talking to someone like me, what are the things that parents should be looking for to say, okay, we're going to start investing further in some of these things? What do you think you need to see before you make that jump to think that this could pay off in the long run?
I think they need to love it.
Yeah.
And like have the desire to say,
have the desire.
I
Challenge
can't
themselves.
breathe without doing this sport.
Correct.
Because you're investing a lot, not just money, but you're also investing a lot of time. And it's a lifestyle.
Oh, for sure.
Travel sports is a lifestyle. It is not for the weak. It is consuming on every aspect. So.
On average, how much do you think a family spends when they're, and I'll speak to like the t-ball and softball and baseball world.
Okay.
How much do you think an average family spends to have one kid in that world?
Travel sports?
A year.
A year. I was going to say.
If you're putting
I was going to break it down to a season, and I was going to say about $5,000.
Okay.
Easily.
And I'm talking everything though. I'm talking equipment. I'm talking gate fees. I'm talking tournament fees. I'm talking
bats,
protective
Coaching,
gear,
hotels,
protective gear.
gas.
It's a number.
It can add up. And I think it's also really important too that you can sit there and spend thousands of dollars, but like who is in front of your kid? Who is talking to them from a coach perspective? I think that's another thing people need to look at, because you are investing your money. And money makes the world go round, right? But that being said, you should also be investing in like their manners and like other good practices.
Making them well-rounded.
Yes. And I think that's so key in all of this.
Yeah. It can't be just one leg of the tripod. So, okay. So the two of you were both very, were successful in your own right, enjoy each other on the field. Take us back to that moment where you said, all right, let's do this. For anybody that's listening that may have a passion for starting a business or think they have a great idea, what did that look like when you guys first started thinking, can we do this? How do we make it? Was the goal to make it at some point very profitable? Talk to us about how you decided to take already limited resources of time and money and put them towards this. And how did you guys navigate that?
Sports Mom, official Sports Mom.
Yeah.
A couple things. So I think we sat down, we brainstormed a lot, and to be honest with you, what Sports Mom is today wasn't even on the list of where we are.
Wasn't. No, it wasn't at all. It evolved the last couple of years for sure.
And it definitely evolved once we started like getting into the thick of it. And like for me, it was an easy decision because I believe in our business and I believe in what we have. And the best way to do that is you're investing in yourself. And I also really feel passionate about the moms that we've met. Yeah. And it's not just moms like in our local community. I mean, the podcast really elevated us to a different level to where we were able to connect to people from like different states. Yeah. And it was very interesting that we're all on the same page. We're all going through it. And everyone just kind of wants like their own little sideline bleachers cheering them on. Yeah. So it's nice to vent and to just
provide those resources too. I feel like there's just so many missing pieces. I mean, the sports world, even just doing the podcast, the people that we met, psychologists talking about the mental health of your child, local businesses that started small that have excelled and they collaborate with different brands. It's just what we've experienced is amazing. And to see that kind of start from an idea that we had in her living room. I remember sitting down, paper and pen, like, this is what we want to do. How are we going to make this, like, how are we going to execute the vision? Yeah. And I feel like to Rachel's point, like, it was all about the moms and what we believed in and what they needed, because it does take a village to raise children, especially in this season of life that we're in. And I feel like this has been the platform where Rachel and I have been able to work together and create something that's beautiful, that's able to be accessible to moms from across the world that have kids that are young, that are thinking about adding, travel sports to their dynamic of their family. And I feel like that's what Sports Mom has become, to be honest with you.
And as business owners, I think for anybody listening, you said something, and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. This was an idea that you got hyper organized around, and you really just thought through all of the scenarios of how to bring it to fruition. And I think what has kept it going, just like with so many businesses, is you weren't doing this because you wanted it to make money, which is fine, to start a business for that reason.
Yeah.
But I think what keeps you in the game when the going gets tough with a baby business, like it always does, is truly the force that you feel of creating an impact and making something or someone better because of the work that you're bringing to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know just from, following you all that you have pivoted a few different times. And I think if you are willing to pivot as a business owner, but keep the impact in front of you, it's always going to be a great outcome. So, okay, what's one of the best things that you did financially to set this business up for success? That if someone is listening and thinking, that's me, I have this idea, I have this passion, what would be the first thing that you would tell them that, hey, we did this and I'm so glad that we did?
That's a great question.
I feel like I don't have just one though.
Give it all to us.
I think you need to be really comfortable with failing and taking risks, because that's how you're going to figure out
what works, what doesn't.
Well, this really works and this does not. And we've had our fail moments, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's how you learn and grow. And one of the things I really love that we did is we did the podcast, because the best way to connect with people is via socials.
Sure.
And we wanted something to where, when moms are working out, they're on their way to the field, they're doing whatever, they can just kind of like pop us in. And that was a great way for us to connect and like meet new people and expand the network, which is really what we wanted to do. And the podcast did that for us.
Yeah.
We wanted to be relatable. We wanted to be transparent. We're real moms. We're going through it. We're figuring it out and sharing the hacks and all of that.
Yeah.
I think the podcast was hands down an easy investment for us.
Yeah. Especially because to grow the brand that you all envisioned, you had to get in front of a lot of people and grow a following.
For sure.
So what I take from that is sometimes you have to get crystal clear on what is going to drive the boat to results first.
Correct.
And don't be afraid to sign the check.
Yeah.
To jump in.
It was a leap of faith, I think, for us.
It was a big check, but it was also, it was an investment. Like just like you invest in your kid, like we knew
you had something.
This was something different. This was the one thing that kept us apart from others and made us stand out, in my opinion. And we've met so many great like businesses and sponsors, and it's been such an eye-opening experience, and we love it. And we wanted to also, in growing our business, grow authentically.
Yeah.
We didn't want to just,
we don't want to pay
make
for
a couple
leads.
TikToks and dance around. I mean, like that's not who I am. So
you'll never catch me doing that.
No. So and we can talk all day. And it's about real issues, like present issues that are happening. And it was just an easy
spend.
Yeah. And we don't just talk about sports too. So we talk about, to Rachel's point, like real life situations that are happening with our own kids.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do in these situations? It's almost like an advice, like almost like a lifeline for mamas to say like, hey, is this going on with your kids too? Perfect. We just went through this. Like, can we help you? Or what resources can you help us with? So that's kind of where the podcast really has been the biggest investment, but it's been the best way to spend our money.
Right. And I do want to also add, our podcast is not set up, or we don't have like a script. It is literally us
sitting down
and we're like hashing out whatever.
Yeah. We tried scripting when we first started.
It was horrible.
We couldn't. It's just not us. It's not us. It's like when you listen to the podcast, it's like me and Rachel on a phone call.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it's
that's
about.
What people love to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that was a big first thing. Were there any financial missteps where you're like, holy cow, if you start a business, don't do this because we did it?
I think the boutique part of it, even though we're really successful, there's some opportunities where we missed. We, ordered for specific demographics and it just didn't really stick. So we were kind of like, oh man, we're kind of stuck with this inventory. What do we do? So those, I feel like that's like the ebbs and flows. I think buying for other people too, because when we go to market and we go to see all these styles and like fashion stuff, like, oh, what are the trending things for the upcoming season? we're like, okay, we're not shopping for us. And we also have two different styles completely.
We are very different.
Super different. And we've clearly seen that. And you'll see that eclectic look in our collections that we bring to the boutique, because it's a little bit of me, it's a little bit of her. And then there's like a blend of both of us.
Right. And we also wanted to be mindful too of our price points.
Yeah.
Because, these moms are spending
a ton of money already.
Lots of money already.
Yeah.
So we wanted something that they can wear on and off the field and still look good, and maybe just
good quality.
When they're going at 5 a.m. to get ready and they're packing the cooler, like we wanted something that they throw on and make them feel good,
Yeah.
So
because they're at the field their entire life. I mean, that's what it feels like, right?
They really are. You gotta look cute. You gotta look cute.
Yes.
That's the one
We may not have it all together, but we will always look cute.
I love that. I love that. And then you feel good about being there.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so now totally shifting gears. Growing up, what was your relationship with money? As you were coming, you're both business owners. You're both married to business owners. So what do you remember anybody that impacted you in a really good way, or things that you maybe carried with you and as an adult you thought, oh, why do I think this way because of that thing that happened, and kind of had to unpack that? How was it growing up with money? Were you guys talking about it at the kitchen table? Were you not?
Oh, well, I guess I'll start. With my family, no, that wasn't a conversation. Money was just something that we really did not discuss or talk about ever. I mean, they told us like the basics, like, save your money here and there, but they didn't tell us how. So I actually learned a lot when I met my husband. My husband is the financial guru. You know him personally. He's amazing with money. So that's where I started learning. And obviously meeting you and just having you help me personally has really opened up the doors and really opened up that knowledge that I have today about money and feeling confident and speaking about money, because that's something too that I didn't know and I continue to learn. That
you can talk about the uncomfortable things that we're told we shouldn't.
Correct.
Oh, we can. Yeah. What about you?
I love talking about money.
I love that.
To me, I just think it's something that everyone can really learn from. And I think everyone's background and experiences are always very different. I had a very opposite experience than you had growing up.
Yeah.
My parents always talked about money. I had an allowance. I had a checkbook. I had to learn how to save. I ran a little babysitting network with 3 friends, and that's how
babysitters club over here. I love it.
I bartended for a lot of my years, so always had for my age a decent amount of cash for my my friends were working getting $8 an hour, and I would work a bartending shift and come home with, do a $1 margarita night and come home with $400 when I was 20, 18, So I think my parents always instilled the savings and what are your goals? What do you want to get from money? Do you want to buy a new car? Do you want to buy a house one day? They always never got me birthday presents. I always got investments.
I love
so
that.
They, all my friends would be so excited, oh, I'm having a birthday party, doing all these things. And my dad would hand me here's your stock options. And I'm at the time I was mortified. I was this is the worst. I just want the new Uggs, So really didn't understand it. Now I'm very thankful that was instilled at me in a young age.
Yeah.
And I try to do it with my kids. Small things. They have their responsibilities that are non-negotiables, brushing your teeth, making your bed, but things that they can do around the house that is helpful, vacuuming, taking out the dogs, small things, unloading the dishwasher, things that they can do. They get 25 cents, 50 cents.
And do they choose to do it?
They have to choose to do it.
Have you read this book?
Yes,
is that why?
Yes.
I love it.
So I just didn't want to—
Adding value, teaching them how to add value.
Right. And so it's interesting because all of a sudden they are off next week for Thanksgiving, and they are very helpful because they want to have money to go see the new Zootopia movie and be able to buy all of the snacks that I probably wouldn't buy them. But if they have their money, they can spend it. So just teaching them small little things like that, I think goes a long way.
And we've talked about this book and this concept before, and I do think it's so great. Instead of just saying, hey, here's your allowance, being able to say and instilling in them the grit, the drive to say, okay, I want this. I have a way to get it. And it all falls back on them. And I think that that is a skill that any kid will carry with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So it's just shifting kind of the way we would do something into a more advantageous approach.
Right.
Can make all the change and difference in the world.
As a mom, I'm already having to manage and keep track of so many things. So I don't want to keep track of
Did you do this?
an allowance and did you do this and another checklist. Do you know what I'm saying? I just wanted something that they could almost manage themselves, and basically they write me a receipt
Of what they do.
and I have to sign that they've done it, and then they hold it so then they can cash in.
She has a whole other system.
I'm serious because I can't keep, I mean, it's a lot to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you want to do this, like, you're going to put forth the effort and show me that you want to do it.
Well, and so in combination with that and just having the conversations, I grew up like you, where I had two very different examples in my mom and my dad, and they both taught me things that I needed. But there were so many things that were never mentioned, were never talked through. And trying to figure that out along the way, I just try and do better with my kids. So even with the sports thing, saying, you know, do you guys talk about how much it costs with your kids? Do they understand the financial?
Oh, yeah. It's super transparent.
It's so important because then it's a little bit different to say, yeah, I know you don't want to go to this, you know, private coaching this Saturday, but we've already paid for it. And it just allows them to understand what that means. And something that you just said that I think is really important, you referenced money as a tool. It is a tool to get you something that you want or need. And when you look at money like a tool, you take the power away from the emotion that can be tied with it. It's there. The tool can be used however you want to use it. And there are a million ways to go out and get more of it.
Yeah.
No one is limited to that. And that's the biggest challenge sometimes, is breaking the generational, well, we don't talk about money.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, do I save? Let me sign up for this credit card on the street corner to get a t-shirt on the way to a game like I did. And not understanding the repercussions of it, you know? Do you think your kids have a good understanding? Or if they're sitting in these seats 20 years from now, do you think that you're doing better or at least the same as what you had and what you hope to give them?
Absolutely. I think so.
And that's really how it changes, you know?
Another thing my dad did, and my mom too, is they put me in front of an accountant at an early age.
I love that.
I think I was like 17. And I had this gentleman. Luckily, I had him for about like 10, 15 years before he retired. And the small little things of how I looked at money, because I'm like, oh, well, I have this. And I want to, at the time I was in New Jersey. So I was like, oh, I just want to go on vacation to Florida and be in the sun. He's like, yeah, that's great. But with this money, let me show you what your 2-year options look like if you invest in this, and trying to, and like understanding though that like I'm young. So he was like, let's take some risks. Let's do it. And I think understanding that was very helpful. So I met with him maybe like twice a year, but that was
impact was huge.
Huge.
How do you all, I think that in this world of sports, the moms really are the backbone of it all.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate, because you're in such the driver's seat with this, do you find like how do you guys balance money within your marriages? I know your obviously personal story, and I think you referenced earlier, I think you do a really good job of asking all the right questions and coming at your financials as a couple.
Yeah.
And that's really important. But you're both business owners. You both have husbands that are business owners. Do you take charge? Do you let your husband take charge? Do you do it as a duo?
Personally, we do a collaboration. So like we sit down once a month and be like, all right, what are our goals for the month? Where are we financially? Where do we want to go? And it's something, it's the State of the Union meeting.
I was
But
just
you actually
gonna say,
taught
it
me
sounds
that.
like the State of the Union.
It is a State of the Union meeting that I actually learned from you. And we actually implemented that a few years ago. And that has been game changing for us because it really just kind of helps us reset. Because to your point, I run a whole side business completely by myself as a solo entrepreneur. And that is already a profiting business that I have to make sure that let's do a pulse check on that and then implement what we need to personally reach for our goals as well.
Well, and especially now you all have multiple businesses in each of your marriages. And you also have the sports component and the mom component. And oftentimes, I know at least I feel, and so many other women I know, like two ships passing in the night. And so it is important to have those check-ins because if you and Patrick are talking about life and then about sports and the kids, sometimes it's hard to remember to say, oh my gosh, FYI, I have this big thing coming, or I have my business insurances that are up for renewal, and or I had this big closing, whatever it is, it's hard to forget or, or hard to remember the things that maybe happen on the outside that the partner doesn't know. So the State of the Union
that's the way to go.
Could be a game changer.
It is a game changer.
What about you guys?
So I would say a little bit of both. Certain times he's out of state. So like I'm handling some financial decisions in which he trusts me to do. But together we always have like our year plan, our 5-year plan, our 10-year plan. What do we want to do in 20? Like what are our goals? Those sometimes usually stay somewhat the same. Like every once in a while there'll be like a small change. But I definitely would say he's more aggressive and more willing to take risks where I am not as much. So we balance each other out in that way, and I enjoy that. So yeah, I would say like a little bit of both.
Yeah, because you have to.
Yeah.
And I say this so often, you don't have to be, and like even if there's an area in your life that you're managing together, forget the money, even anything that one party is kind of checked out of, they still need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You still have to communicate and just say, okay, catch me up. What do I need to know about this? Okay, great. Nope, that's it. But especially with money, you have to understand what the goal is as a unit, even if you're not driving the boat, because sometimes if there's a goal that one person is going after that the other doesn't know about, keeping some of the disciplines and strategies in place would be hard for the other person if they aren't tied to it, So just got to talk about it. What is big coming up? Like what's next for you guys in the company?
All the things.
I think that's our problem is we are very ambitious. So sometimes our ideal list and like actually getting that to fruition, we have to be like, okay, we're gonna focus on this, and then we're gonna put this on the back burner. It's a little hard.
Yeah. I think our biggest goal is to continue growing our platforms and our brand across all of our, outlets that we talk about, whether it's the in-person events, whether it's the podcast. I think collaborating with a lot of new corporate businesses that are recognizing us has been a huge game changer for Rachel and I. It's something that we're very proud of because we worked very hard to accomplish a lot of those things that we're slowly seeing our seeds flourish in, right? So that's been exciting to see. And I just know that next year, I think it's going to be a great year for Sports Mom.
Yeah. I would love to have a brick and mortar.
Yeah, that's what she likes. She needs that too. It's taking
There's that whole goal thing when we were talking about husband and wives. It also is business partners as well.
Exactly.
If you saw her eyeballs roll in the back of her head, because she's like, no, pump the brakes. But you got to put it out there. You got to, you have to I think, talk your dreams out, and you never know what opportunities will come your way, and you just got to be ready.
Yeah.
One of my very good friends said this, and it has stuck with me. And it's whether you're talking to, there's two people that you really need to consider making proud. And that is your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. And that, shout out to Delana, is something I think about now all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think the 8-year-old versions of yourselves would ever have envisioned you doing what you're doing right now?
Oh, yeah.
No.
You say yes and you say no.
I say no.
Yeah.
No.
My dreams were real big.
Yeah.
And I think when you set yourself to goals, nothing happens overnight. And I think that's one thing that people always forget is you can have all the dreams and the ambition, and sometimes things just take time to come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust in God. I trust in the plan, and
have the patience.
So
be ready to pivot.
Yeah.
My 8-year-old self would definitely pat myself on the back. But
You did
when I
it,
look at our life, and I'm like, these were all the things that we wanted.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And so now your 80-year-old self, if she is sitting there, what do you want her to say about this business that you guys are doing?
You should have started it sooner.
That's always the way.
That's always the way.
I know.
I think mine would be like, I'm proud of you for taking that risk, because I tend to not be such a big risk taker.
Yeah.
So for me, this is a huge risk, but it's an exciting risk that I'm excited to take on. So I think that for me is probably the biggest thing. I'm proud of you for doing that.
And I think it's fun for you guys in any business when you have a partner or someone that you're doing it with, whether it's a spouse or a friend. It does make it, because entrepreneurship is hard.
Yeah.
And so to have somebody go through the trenches with you does make it a little bit more palatable for some people.
Exactly.
So I think it's exciting you guys get to do that.
Yeah.
And that same 80-year-old woman, what do you want her to say? Like, oh, this is what Sports Mom did. Like, where is the eye and the prize in this business? What is the big, hairy, scary goal for this that you want to say? Is it having locations all over the country? Is it having a podcast with 1 million downloads? Where is that? What's the big goal?
All of it.
For me, I feel like it's more of like the community. I love meeting new people. And I think like the 80-year-old version would just be like, you know, you guys were long distance friends for moms that maybe just needed to hear that podcast or just needed that.
And make an impact.
Going through a struggle. You know, like there's a lot of people that write in, they tell us these horror stories and they just want to talk to somebody that's not in their circle, but they will literally tell us
all the things.
Horrible things because, you know,
I mean, it's a wild, wild west out there.
It
It's
really
wild.
is. It really is.
I will never forget watching a mom when Sloan first started cheering, and I think I told you this story.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole world has changed too. I cheered growing up, and I thought that I had done pretty well. And to see these little 6-year-old girls doing what I thought a standing back tuck meant was my ticket to college, and they're doing it at 6, it's like, oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a whole world. But I will never forget sitting in there and watching this mom. Her daughter was in a private and kept doing something and wasn't taking the correction and applying it. And she literally called her a profanity. And she was maybe 6, and then walked in there and like grabbed her and pulled her out. And I just remember thinking, please tell me somebody else saw that I can say, did you just see what happened? Because it's crazy. I'm sure you guys get stories like that all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And we've witnessed stuff, like, unfortunately, with our own eyes. And it's a little scary. And I think that's why, you know, when we talk about community and the business, it's just like you need somebody to, like, a friend of a friend to just, when you're in it, you know how, like, we share a lot of same experiences, you know? Like, there's nothing that we're doing in Florida that maybe a mom is doing in tech. Like, it's really all the same. And we really are going through it together. And I think it's nice to just have something where you can relate. I feel like one of the podcasts we did was about being a coach's wife.
Yeah.
And what that means and the level of expectations and, you know, like how rough it can be. And I mean, that blew up because it was relatable for all of those other coaches' wives, you know? It's wild.
It's a world.
It is. And you never know who you're going to be around when you get put on these teams where maybe you don't have anybody and your only outlet is you guys to feel like, you know, you're not alone in all the craziness.
Yeah.
Okay. So for everyone listening who wants to follow along with everything you're doing, where do they find you?
So for the podcast, it's the sportsmomplaybook.com. That's where they'll find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.
Okay.
And then for our online boutique, it is officialsportsmommvp.com.
And if somebody is listening, what's the one thing that every sports mom you think needs to do?
I'll let you go first.
What's the secret tip? Like, don't yell at the kids while they're playing or buy the new bat. What is it? What's the one thing that you think?
I would say get a performance coach
Yeah.
for
That's
your
a good
kids.
one.
It doesn't matter the age. Like if they're 9, if they're 13, if they're going to college, get a performance coach that can lock in on their mental health and basically just help their brain work in a little healthier way.
Okay.
So like when they're on the mound or they're feeling that level of pressure,
Oof.
what are things that they can do to be successful?
Yeah.
I think that's great. Like I really
Give them tools to overcome a lot of
Yeah.
that pressure stuff too.
don't sleep on the performance coach. I mean,
Okay.
and that is something that I feel like can go to any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
No matter what sport you are, I don't think it's
Not
necessarily
even in
specific.
just sports too, like just in life in general.
Yeah.
You know, if they're struggling at school with something or
Mhm.
just like almost like a little therapist in that sense for your child to like just say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. The pressure at
It's
school,
a
at
lot of
sports, it's a
pressure.
lot. And sometimes these kids, and we hear this all the time from moms writing in, is that our little ones, like as young as they are, they still feel like, am I good enough? Am I going to please my parents? Am I going to get reprimanded by my coach for not performance? It's
Mhm.
all, they're so performance driven. Most athletes are. So to Rachel's point, that performance coach and just that little mental health coach, it's so
Check-in.
important
Mhm.
that check-in with your child is key because it really can determine if your kid's going to move it to the next level
Or
or
not.
they're going to continue or they're going to fall out of love with that sport and go in a completely different direction.
I'll tell you what, Beckett loves to pitch.
Mhm.
And when I hate it when I love it, but I hate it. And I oftentimes will do this. And I'm like,
It is a
looking.
stressful
It's
position.
so stressful. You think about those little pumpkins up there on the mound, and it's so
Mhm.
much pressure. But
It is.
anyway, well, thank you guys so much for joining. I think what you're doing is so great. Everybody needs community. Everybody wants to feel like someone else can relate to what they're going through. And this is just a huge part of our culture now. I love that you both approach things in a different way, but also the same and come together. And I'm excited to see what comes next. So keep up all of the dreams
Thank you.
and do all of the great things. And as always, for all of you all, thank you so much for spending time with me and 2 others today. And until next time, let's keep changing the way women think and feel about money together.